Okay, thank you. Next question we have from Mr. Dale. What type of support from the DA's office will be enforced for Child Support Division regarding deadbeat parents?
Well, again, the criminal statutes do allow for pursuing the deadbeat moms and dads as a criminal case. The goal in those cases oftentimes is just to try to make sure that the person gets current, but oftentimes they have to have the criminal case hanging over their head in order to ensure that compliance. The problem is too often people prioritize how they're spending their money other than supporting their children. And that's why the criminal law is available. There is a full-time staff person that handles those cases, and we would continue to do so and continue to pursue criminal contempt and criminal sanctions against people that are failing to do what the court orders them to do, which is to support their children. And obviously, people have their priorities mixed up. So many of these people find the ability to spend their money on everything else under the sun other than their court-ordered obligations. And when they do that, I'm going to pursue it as a criminal matter.
Bob?
Thank you. I do have considerable experience in this area, and in fact, when I was DA, the District Attorney's Office still had control over the Family Support Division, which was later transferred to the state. And actually, when I was a DA investigator, I also did some family support investigations for deadbeat dads. The issue here is what control do we have over this arena? And we do have control. 270 of the Penal Code says we can go after those people who fail to provide for their children, whether it's a father or a mother or other custodial parent. There is a possibility to do that, and I'll certainly keep that as an alternative. And in those serious cases where there's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars due, it would be appropriate to file those charges, get the force of the law behind the criminal jail time as certainly a motive for them to pay child support. Thank you.
One last question. In the past years, have seen an increase in soft plea bargains from the DA's office. How do you feel about cutting soft deals?
I take it that's for me again?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, this is a great question, and this is the cornerstone of my campaign, is the plea bargaining process. Like I said, too often cases are getting pled down for far less than they're worth. And I think as a practical matter, some cases do need to be negotiated because we can't try every case. We only have 2 courtrooms. We are understaffed at the court level even by the state's own standards. So we have to be smart about which cases we pursue to negotiate on and which we don't. But as I said before, there's a state statute that says that we're not supposed to negotiate on these serious or violent felonies, on DUI cases, driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, when a firearm is used, and violent sex offenses. And too often those cases are negotiated as a matter of course and pled down to something else without even any consideration about whether the evidence supports such a reduction. And it sounds like a novel idea, but I'm actually going to follow state law and not negotiate those cases down. Thank you.
Obviously, as a career prosecutor for many years, I know quite a bit about plea bargaining. And as a career prosecutor, I don't like it, but it has to be done as indicated. For me, there has to be justifiable and verifiable reasons to do a plea bargain. For example, if the witness has moved out of state or now refuses to cooperate, the same for a material witness, there has to be something justifiable and verifiable. Things that I don't think are justifiable and verifiable is just if the case is difficult or it's going to take too long to prosecute, or if you have other evidence to go forward on a difficult case not want to cooperate, you can go forward. Plea bargaining gets a bad rap, but it's used across the United States in every county in the state of California. I will go for the gravamen of the offense to get the best punishment I can for the best crime based on the merits of the case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now, even though I did this out of turn, each candidate will be able to ask their opponent one question. Each question must be one sentence and end in a question. Question mark. So, Dale?
That's an impossible thing to ask any attorney to do. My question is this: in the time that I've been here in the county, I've not seen Mr. Drossel in court regularly in criminal cases. And there have been considerable changes to the law in California since AB 109 was enacted that has caused a complete new categorization of the way certain cases are prosecuted and sentenced, and what happens with split sentencing, post-release community supervision, mandatory supervision, and I'm wondering how conversant my opponent is in all of those new nuances that have totally changed the landscape of criminal cases in California.
Yes, I am up to date, and here's why. As you know, I've been district attorney since 2002, my last date in the office. Went back to help out a struggling, short-staffed DA's office, 2008 to 2010. When I lost the election by 100-some votes last time, I helped out the county doing the public defender contract, 2011 and 2012. So I am current. And during that process, I know about AB 109, the shifting of the inmates from the state to the county. I'm familiar with the serious and violent offenders in the new statutes under 1170 PC. I am current, and I know what to do, and I will do the job. Thanks.
Okay, Bob, it's your turn to ask a question.
As a defense attorney with limited prosecution and managing experience and none in California, how will you handle being DA with less prosecution experience than the staff you will manage?
Well, I think that's a false premise. I don't have less experience than everyone in the staff. I've been a prosecutor before, and I've been a defense attorney here for the last year and a half. I've been licensed to practice law in the state of California for 10 years. I have experience, and I have, as my opponent's answer to my last question bears out, I have considerable more recent experience with current criminal structure in California than he does. I've been in the trenches, I've battled these AB 109 issues, and I'm very familiar with the fact that I've done them from the defense standpoint rather than the prosecution standpoint. I think it would make me a better prosecutor, not a worse one. Thank you.
I'd like to thank both. We have a big round of applause.
You got closing statements.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. I'll get this done by the next one.
Why break tradition now? I guess I'll go first. Does this still work?
Yes.
In summary, I talked about the issues that I'm focusing my campaign on. I talked about how I'm going to focus the priorities of the office on the serious and violent offenders. That's going to have a tremendous impact in the community and not having the revolving door in our community of putting people in the county jail and letting them right back out. The people that need to go to state prison are going to go to state prison because I'm going to follow the law and not negotiate those cases down. Secondly, with domestic violence, as I've said before, these are very, very serious cases that are just not a priority right now, and they're going to be if I win this election. I can't tell you that I can do it single-handedly, but the DA's office plays a central role in eradicating this problem. Third, again, renewing law enforcement. partnership. I've been here for a year and a half. Mr. Drossel's been here for 15 years. He's had 10 times the opportunity to get law enforcement on his side, and I've had, but they're backing me and not him. They want me to be their partner. They want me to handle their cases, and I hope you do too. Thank you.
Bob?
Thank you. Just on that last point from Mr. Trigg, I had law enforcement support last time, just 2 years ago. I had the district attorney support last time. I had the triplicate support. I had many sponsors and support, and I'm still lost by 100 votes. This evening, I think it's been demonstrated that I have the leadership, experience, and dedication to do the job. The top DA job is not a training ground. You have to have the prosecution experience, administration experience, the management experience to do the budgets, the grants, and the personnel issues, and I have done that. I think if you ask lots of people, they will tell you, if somebody's serious about being a DA in California, why don't you get a job in a DA's office, spend some significant time in a DA's office, and work your way up the ladder. I did that. From deputy DA, supervising deputy DA, assistant DA, and DA. I have a proven track record. Shortcuts generally don't work, as we found out in the past, not for the DA and not for the community. My unique package is very good, and it will come into play in the district attorney's office. My mission statement will get the job done. It will cover all crimes across the board. That is domestic violence, all those violent, serious offenses. We'll provide for the safety of our community and justice for the victims. Why should you believe me over my candidate or over my competitor? Well, I have a proven track record. And as we know, past performance is a good indicator of future performance. I have the experience, the honesty and credibility, and I can get the job done. Thank you.